If I asked you guys if you could sum up Burn Bootcamp in one word, 3, 2, 1, go, what would it be? 3, 2, 1, go. That was pretty good. I heard a couple other things other than community, but community was overwhelming. And part of that community is, in really the center, the nucleus of that community is us, right? From Child Watch to on the floating floor as trainers or at the front desk as BAs and ops managers. You know, those three areas of the gym, those three roles in the gym, you know, we're driving the health and fitness and happiness of our community on an everyday basis. And that's the way that I've always looked at it is, hey, if you have this jersey on your chest and you rep Burn Bootcamp with pride, what you're also making a decision to do is be a leader in your community who's going to create other leaders in your community. Like, think about this as like the leadership factory. I mean, how many people today came through this camp that was probably, a little over 100 that came through today. And each one of those people that I got to speak to had given us credit here for shaping their life in some way, shape, or form. You know, we say more than a gym because that's what it is. As everyone stands in a line and talks to me, they get 1 minute to tell me what's on their head and what's on their heart. And oftentimes I get like the most emotionally, the deepest emotional feelings that people have overcome or something in their life. And a lot of times I've met my best friends here. I've had an opportunity to join this place, and yeah, the workouts are the best of the best. We're going to talk about that, right? But that's just what we do. That's not who we are. Who we are at the core are leaders of our community. And we do that through five strategies. We call it the pillars. The 5 pillars. Does anybody want to take a shot at what the 5 pillars are without looking down at your, without looking down anywhere inside of your book there? Number 1. Well, good. I'm glad we're doing training then. Number 1, challenging workouts. Challenging workouts. Number 2, nutrition education. Number 3, focused mindset. Number 4, goal setting. And number 5, community. And between those 5 things, we've got amenities in the gym that all connect back up to those things. Let's talk about challenging workouts, because that's the thing that's going to move the needle the most. You want to know what my one piece of feedback is for this market so far? You're at an 8 out of 10 in intensity, and you need to be at a 12 out of 10 if you're going to dominate the market. Who's interested in just like competing or like kind of being close to other gyms? Are you interested in competing? Raise your hand if you're interested in competing with other gyms. Or raise your hand if you're interested in dominating, where when people in your community, they know hands down, oh, what gym you go to? Burn, with no hesitation. And furthermore, if their friends don't go, they'll beg them and beg them and beg them and beg them and beg them to go until they finally come. Or if they don't come, they'll stop being friends with them. People ask me who my competitors are, and you know what I say? The mirror. You look in the mirror, that's your competitor. And so what we want to talk about today is how we can, in this market, how we can pull away. In your market, how we can pull away. How we can create a brand value that when people are sitting around at the local Starbucks or they're sitting around at, you know, the dinner table out in the community on Friday night. Where'd we go last night? Was it the sports den? When they're at the sports den in Northville and they're out with their friends, what are they saying about Burn? Right? What are they talking about? Right? That's what our brand is. Our brand isn't what you think it is or what you say it is or what you'd want it to be. Your brand is what other people perceive it to be. And when they're talking around a coffee table, in effect, we don't actually have one brand. We have thousands of different little brands and thousands of different perspectives on our brand based on what it's done for people in their life. And you know what the one thing is? The one thing that makes, that's the glue that holds the community together, that allows your mother to come in. I'm sure you feel so proud of your mom for her losing 100 pounds. And what did that do to her mentally, even more so than physically, right? Like your mom has a different perspective on our brand versus Vinny versus Kelly. But the one common denominator that holds all of that together, you guys, is pillar number one, and that's challenging workouts. Challenging workouts. I say 8 out of 10, that's 80%. I say 12 out of 10, that's 120%. Okay, going 120% to our goals, that just means that there's no stopping once you're there. That just means that there's no, like people say there's no such thing as over 100%. Yes, there is. Yeah, you know how much Burn Bootcamp has grown since we started in membership? 6,555% since 2015. We've grown in our membership. 4,772% in revenue. Our average unit economics, we call that unit level economics, ULEs, the thing we're all responsible for, the thing that keeps profitability at our locations so that we can continue to be the leaders of the community. That's grown 665% since 2015. So yes, you can achieve more than 100%. And so my biggest takeaway so far being here is that we're at 80% intensity. So our challenging workouts, we're hitting it with an 80% clip, which is a B. You know, is a B gonna allow us to compete, or is it gonna allow us to dominate? Which one? If we're just at a B, B minus, B plus, we're gonna compete with that type of product, okay? And I hope that you trainers here take this conversation well, because a lot of it is geared toward the product on the floor, because that's what we do, right? But at the end of the day, our standard is much, much, much higher. You're already the best. You're already the top 1%. It's just that our standard is much higher. And who loves to play for a team where their standard is higher than everyone else's standard? There's a very finite, select amount of people that are willing to play for a team whose standards are really, really high, because the pressure is on all the time. You follow what I'm saying? If the pressure is on all the time, well, it either creates diamonds, pressure can create diamonds, or it can create pancakes. And so you've all seen what the standard and the pressure from the standard can do to some people in our organization, especially franchise partners who have been here. Monica, you've been here literally since day one. Monica and I go way back. She was a member in Mooresville. She was one of the original OG members in Burn, period, right? You started at one of the very first recreation centers that we had before we had brick and mortars. Monica showed up to the Talbert Recreation Center in Mooresville, North Carolina, which is like a hybrid basketball gym slash I don't even know, like a town center. And that was where the first Burn Bootcamp Mooresville was, right? And the product then, the mindset around the product then is the same exact mindset around the product now. Although we just have way better equipment, way better programming. But the mindset was always, and what hooked Monica from the very beginning, was challenging workouts, the intensity at 120%. That's what got Monica to say, you know what? I'm gonna freaking do this for other people. I'm gonna jump off this, metaphorical cliff with a parachute that some 25-year-old guy just gave me, and I'm gonna trust this guy that it opens once I jump. And she did that, and she opened Wilmington, and then she moved up to this market, and she opened this market, and was one of our pioneers of the brand in general, and the definite pioneer of this marketplace. And when you've been in the brand that long and you've seen it that long, you'll know that what I'm saying right now has been super consistent. I've been saying the same thing year over year, month over month, quarter over quarter, week over week, that it's very, very, very simple to know, a little bit more difficult to execute. And that's what we're here at Regional Training for, is to teach how to execute challenging workouts, teach how to execute the sales culture that goes around the challenging workouts. That's our main two objectives of this, right? Is it true that everyone in here is already a salesperson, yes or no? Why is that true? Look at the shirt you have on your chest, if you have a Burn shirt on. Did you do the workout this morning? Raise your hand if this has changed your life in some way, shape, or form. And that means that we all have a story, right? We all have a story around how Burn Bootcamp has changed our lives. Stories sell, information tells. We're going to talk, Jen's going to talk, where's Jen? Jen is right here. Listen, when this woman speaks about culture and sales, listen. Because she can do it with the best. She's done it for Peloton, one of the best fitness companies on the planet, and now she's come over on our side to do it for us because of what we stand for, our core values, who we are, our integrity, our pride in results, our authenticity, our people first. You can see it right on the front of your packet. Those 4 core values. So I'm gonna talk a lot right now about the pillar number 1, challenging workouts. I'm gonna talk a little bit about core values, and then I'm gonna let Jen talk about sales. And you got Luke here in the back too. What's up, Luke? You guys all know Luke. If you don't know Luke, when we do our breakouts, Luke is going to take the trainers and we're gonna dive deep into how to execute these challenging workouts to a higher level and how to get to 120. Okay, how to get to 120. What I saw today, Vinny, what I saw today was amazing. If I was taking an average standard of this market, you're gonna be in the upper echelon. If I take the Burn Bootcamp cohort and I take all of our Burn Bootcamp trainers, that's where my 80% comes from. I hope that you take that as a vote of confidence in you. I hope that you guys take this at this gym as a gap, because the growth is all in the gap. How the hell are we supposed to grow as human beings in general if we don't know where the gaps are? In this organization, we run something called the Burn Operating System. You can see that little pie chart, not pie chart, that little, what's it called? Circle pie thing. Yeah, our Burn Operating System, it's right on the front page. It's the pie, that's the Burn Operating System, that's the playbook. It's okay. Okay, that's the playbook. So everything that we talk about is a process, and every process is in that slice of the pie you see there called processes. Processes documented and followed by all. So the art of, or the science rather, of challenging workouts, the science of challenging workouts is not an art. It's not, yes, we are all uniquely gifted, right? We're all uniquely gifted, but the science is through the Burn Operating System. And then that's where you go from 80 to 120, is when you take your natural talent. I mean, dude, you're one hell of a motivator. Like, I would want to put you up on like a stage and like let you give a seminar. You know, like you could rock a room of 1,000 people today, right? Okay, now we take that natural talent and you are humble enough and hungry enough to open your heart and allow new ideology and new philosophy in that you believe in, that you think can make you better. Now that's the marriage of the brand partnership and your unique ability to be creative. The only way we thrive as an organization and as a brand is if you have that creativity. Think about Starbucks. If you go into Starbucks, who orders actually something off the menu? That's like on the menu, you order it verbatim off the menu. Anybody here? Raise your hand. That's okay if you do. Some people do. That's okay. I know when I go in, let's just say, I like black coffee, so I'm easy. Let's say Tim goes in. Tim goes in, and he's in Granger, Indiana, and he goes into local Starbucks. He comes in every morning with his Burn Bootcamp blue on after his camps, and you know what? Even though that there's nothing blue on the menu, the baristas go, "Hey Tim, I put an extra pump of blue spirulina in your coffee this morning to give it or your iced coffee to give that little blue hint because I know how much you love Burn Bootcamp." That creativity, this is why Starbucks did what Starbucks did as an organization. Because Howard Schultz, who's one of my heroes, I think he's one of the brightest men to ever live, he created service as a culture. He created service as a culture. The coffee's not even that good. It's really not. It's the service around the coffee that makes it great. It's the fact that when Tim walks in, the barista's like, "Hey Tim, how's it going?" Hey, Tim likes that blue pump. Make sure you give him that blue pump. He likes a lot, not a little, okay? And then Tim feels like he's part of that community and part of that culture right away because the organization, Howard, gave creativity at the unit level. There's still a menu, baseline of the workout. There's still a menu, but we're able to make it creative for Tim because he's with Burn, and we're able to mod our members up and mod our members down as our act of creativity. So my promise to you is we're never going to lose that. Because I'm talking about challenging workouts. But part of challenging workouts means that you need to believe it. You need to believe that what I'm saying is true. And it is not only true that you need to believe it, but it's true that in order to execute it at the unit level when I'm not here or when nobody's watching you, that it has to be your idea and your philosophy. And so what I hope to do in this little section here is really impart on you how I think about challenging workouts. I'm going to do a few little demonstrations and things like that. But that is the glue, that's the foundation. If we get that right, you guys, I went to 500 members without any marketing money at my original gym just because that camp that I ran today was like that every day, Monday through Saturday, 42 camps a week, no camps off, with that level of energy, intensity, care, compassion for people, for human beings, and that level of attention to detail on individualism. Who saw me next to somebody, we call it sit, stay, and swivel, who saw me next to somebody training them while simultaneously training the rest of the room at the same time? Who saw that? That is the process that I'm talking about, right? So your natural talent, you take the processes that we're talking about, you marry those two things together, that's the equation for you to get to 120. You guys follow me? Any questions there? We're not gonna see walls, we're not gonna see screens on the wall. That's something you can expect from me. That's effectively taking your creativity away. That's effectively rendering who I believe to be the best trainers on this planet, not even in this country. I truly believe that. It's no hyperbole. Monica knows me very well. Monica, do I blow smoke? Absolutely. I don't blow smoke. I look around and I observe top 1% energy, fitness, commitment, dedication, passion. And integrity means on the front of that core values, integrity means I still do all that stuff even when I don't feel like doing it, even when it's really hard. In the face of that, I even step up and do it more because I know that my actions, that everybody's emulating my actions. And in order to be a leader who creates leaders and have the leadership factory, I better be able to put my money where my mouth is even when I don't feel like it. And so you're always gonna see that from me. I'm never taking a day off. I'm not taking a moment off. I'm not taking a member off. There's no spare members. Part of getting to 120 is making sure that everyone in the room, and this is for all of us, at all three spots, okay, that everyone in the building is cared for. What's the number one way that we can care for people when we first meet them? It's one word, 4 letters, what is it? We want to know there? Okay. Raise your hand right now. Just can we be honest and vulnerable? You should have no fear of like getting in trouble or getting called out or anything like that. If you've ran a camp in the last 30 days and there was somebody, whether at any of these 3 spots that you did not know their name and you just kind of let it pass by and you kind of let it go, raise your hand, please. If you've done that, okay? We've done that, and if you're not raising your hand, you're probably lying because it happens, okay? Or you're just not aware of it, and I need you to bring awareness to it. If you're doing 30 days and you remembered everybody's name, then you should be sitting right here giving a seminar because that's pretty great on everyone's name, and I applaud you for that. But most people, unless we are aware of it all the time, we don't understand how important that is to people. Was that important to any of you when you came? Like when you came on your first day and they gave you a high five and smiled and said, hey, you belong here, and called you by your first name? Was that important to you? Is there any stories that we have that maybe that was like really important to you? That was the catalyst for you joining or staying or feeling invited or feeling welcomed? Anybody? Well, I know when I go travel the country and I talk to our members, you can even ask Isaiah. He's always behind the camera listening, and he's got his headphones in, and he hears all my conversations. Like, what percentage of time would you say that people say, hey, the reason I came back is because they just remembered my name the first time? It's very high. There's a reason Starbucks writes your name on your cup. Okay, it's service by culture. So the foundation of challenging workouts is to be able to address people by their first name. But first name, is that good enough? Because if we're really, that's standard, right? But is your job as a player on a championship team to meet the standard or to elevate the standard? Which one? To elevate the standard. If you have this jersey on, part of the core value says that I don't meet the standard. Or first I meet the standard, then I elevate the standard. First I understand what to do, and I follow the playbook, and then I make the playbook better. Right? The thing we can't do is try to make your own playbook. Because making your own playbook is going to render your, if I'm using a sports analogy, your general manager, your coach, your position coaches, the rest of your teammates, it renders everybody that's worked really, really hard on that playbook, it renders them useless. And it undermines the ability to call ourselves a team. You guys follow what I'm saying? So setting the standard and elevating the standard. Set the standard is know everyone's name. If there's 100 people, how many should we remember? 100, not 99. Every camp, every trainer, every day, every ops manager, every day, every child watch, every day. Remembering, just knowing the power of that. Can you create rapport and trust with somebody without understanding what their name is? Can't. So number 2, now we'll talk about elevating the standard, is can you give people nicknames? Who gives out nicknames in their gym? Who gives out nicknames? Give me an example. Give me an example of a nickname. Richie Rich, right? Rachel? Richard, okay. Richie Rich, right? Now is other people in the gym calling him that?
I'm still relatively new.
Okay.
I'm just gonna catch on.
Okay, all right. What about you?
I mostly just shorten their names, whether they go by that or not.
And do other people start calling them that right away?
Yes.
Right? What root word of community, communicate, okay? That's baked into there. We can't have a community unless we have a common language, which is why the Burn operating system exists, to give everyone the same exact language on this team so that we know how to communicate. And if you give somebody a nickname, that's elevating the standard, because the standard is remember and use everyone's name how many times? At least 3, but how many really? As many as you can, right? I've had a camp this morning with 40 people in it. There was maybe 5 people I didn't get to and understand their name by the end of camp. And I could recite most of them if you would like to challenge me. Because I've done this for a long time and I know how important it is. So my entire mindset is like, the first round, let me just learn who my members are so that I can create a rapport and connect and trust with them. So that when I say, hey, do you trust me? Right? That's the prerequisite for me to elevate their weights or elevate their whatever movement they're doing, add more intensity. If I want to get to 120% intensity, then what I need to do, right, is create the rapport and build the trust right away. Trust is directly correlated to the intensity. Are you going to work hard for somebody that doesn't care about you? No, you're not going to work hard for somebody that doesn't care about you. And they don't know you care about them unless you use their name. Am I done harping on that? Okay, it's so important. I'm still going to say names to the day that I'm like 90 years old with a cane and a mic on, like, hey guys, jumping jacks, right? Like, because it's all about names. It's all about building the relationship. We have to have that as a foundational trust. So give yourself, here's a little homework, okay? Give yourself an audit, right? You have to believe that what I'm saying is actually true, that names are so important that it's the foundation to somebody's transformation. Name is foundational to trust. Trust is foundational to transformation. Then we can elevate the standard. So you can go look at your camps next time you're home. Luke's going to teach you guys a little bit of real-time feedback today. You saw real-time feedback. Vin, I did some real-time feedback with you on the floor today. Just in the moment, right? And I could look around if I'm Monica and I could say, hey, or if I'm Chelsea rather, I could say, hey, Vinny, how many people in here today do you know by name? Go, right? And let him kind of like look around, and that's Chelsea's job to hold Vin accountable to that standard, because it's not that he's not trying to meet the standard. He wants to. Vinny wants to be credible at his job, right? You guys all have people on the other side of this organization, on the other side of your paycheck, on the other side of what you care about, what you're responsible for, that you want to make happy, that you want to make proud, that you want to sit down at dinner at your home in your kids or your husband or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever, and you want to talk about how good of a job or how you did it this week at whatever it is you're doing. In this case, it's changing people's lives, hitting the numbers, hitting the goals. Don't we all want to be incredible at what we do? Okay? So then we need to hold each other accountable in that regard. You can't just have a philosophy without a tool. So the philosophy is remember everyone's name, use that name as many times as you can. and continue to remember that name. And if you forget, what should you do? And if you forget again, what should you do? And if you forget again, what should you do? Has anyone ever held a gun to your head and say, forget my name again, I'm pulling the trigger? No, right? There's no existential risk, right, if you have to ask for their name again. So I'm going to move on from that. But elevating the standard would be, how does everybody get a nickname? Because I know when I would give out nicknames to my members, that creates stickiness. There's a lady named Kathy Bauer who nobody knows her full name. They just call her KB. Everybody. They'll see her at the grocery store. What's up, KB? It gives her a new persona to step into. It gives her permission to leave her old life that she lived primarily by negative emotion, that she left that behind. And now she gets to step into this new person called KB, who everybody only sees as a positive, optimistic contributor to the leadership factory in our community. You follow what I'm saying? This is the importance of it. It's human psychology. You guys got to realize depression is at 65% in this country right now. The pandemic's having lasting effects. I'm sure some of you even feel that. 65%. Obesity is at all-time high. It's at 70%. Level 1 obesity is 70%. This is CDC. This isn't me. Kids, 20% of kids. 20% of kids are obese. Okay? What we have on the line is much more important than a six-pack. It's much more important than the superficial goals that people tell us. We want to know their vision, right? Part of the conversation that you're having, right, is they want to talk about the things that go on in their life, because what's contributing to a lot of that 65% number, that depressive nature, a lot of what's contributing to that is no one asks them about the things that they care about on a day-to-day basis. No one asks them about how Timmy's doing at soccer. No one asks them about what their vision is for their life. No one asks them about how the blueprint of their life is matching their current life conditions. No one asks them, why are you here? You guys see people first on the front of your packet? That's what this means. People first means that I understand and I relentlessly pursue the visions of the people that I'm responsible for, and I understand what those things are, and I know that it's important to them, because most people in the four walls of their home, most people don't get the encouragement, don't get the opportunity to have freedom of speech in their own home. No wonder depression is so high. You can't be yourself inside of your home, and you want somebody. Think about when we have a focus meeting, we ask people, like, what's their vision? And then somebody goes in for just 15 straight minutes and they come to tears. This is what I'm talking about. They have not had somebody in the four walls of their home care more about them than you do. They'll say, I love you. They'll say the things. They'll go through the motions. But where's the substance? This is much bigger than fitness. This is about connecting humans back to themselves, about uncovering what's already inside of them. We don't need them to find themselves. It's already in there. We just have to be the shining light in their life that asks them what their vision is and genuinely cares about their answer, and then remembers the answer. Remember the answer. And then use that answer over and over and over and over and over and over, coupled with what Gentry was saying about current life events, coupled with, I saw you on Facebook. There's a care, there's an element to, I'm watching you. You told me your vision, I'm connected with you, now I'm watching. And I'm somebody I'm not going to be the person that doesn't give you the encouragement that is absolutely 100% free to give. Encouragement should cost people no money. And almost no one gives it, you guys. Almost no one. You feel me? It's like, that's what we're doing here. And I want to just speak from my heart a little bit and not go on a script, because to me, what we really need is that mindset. Every single person sitting in this room understanding how important a high five is. A high five is the physical manifestation of encouragement. When I high five somebody, I put my hand above my eyes, above my brain. I open my heart. I'm vulnerable. Do you know why evolution has most four-legged mammals face belly down? Because this is the vulnerable part, right? This is the soft belly, the vulnerable part. Do you know why people stand like this when they're nervous? And you know they're probably nervous if they're standing and they're talking, like, especially if they're squeezing. You know why? Because they're protecting themselves. Because they've had knives in that gut, metaphorically, by the people in their life that they love the most, which is so fucking sad. So sad. I know this intimately because that's the things that people tell me when they get to stand in line for 1 minute. They'll break down. No one listened to me. No one cared about my goals. No one remembered my name. No one gave me a high five. This is the first time I've gotten a high five in my life for some people. This is the power of the little nuances that if you didn't know this could be like, oh, the name and high five thing. I get it, right? I had a trainer at one of my gyms that I own in Salt Lake City. I gave her real-time feedback. She wasn't high-fiving people. I gave her real-time feedback, high five, I need you to high five, I need you to high five, I need you to high five. She wasn't getting it. I didn't have time to explain this in the moment, real time. I just said, I need 100 high fives, go. She wasn't doing it, wasn't doing it, wasn't doing it, wasn't doing it. I'm like, listen, you're not gonna train the next camp. You're supposed to. You're not gonna train the next camp. We're gonna go in the back room and I'm gonna talk with you about what I'm saying because you're not executing. You're not being coachable right now. You're not executing what I'm asking you to execute, and I'm gonna need to tell you why. So I went and told her why. She came out for the next camp, and she probably gave 375 high fives in that camp. Her hands were red after the camp because she just needed to understand the why. She needed to understand why is it important to do these things. Because we're gonna give you the autonomy, the creativity, like the baristas get, right? Only we're changing people's lives. The only difference between Starbucks and Burn is we're transforming people's lives from the inside out. We're not getting them caffeinated for their workday. It's a much bigger responsibility, isn't it? And so when we grab on to some of these things, when we use names, when we give nicknames, when we know the visions of people inside and out, we call it the hot button. You press that hot button over and over and over. You have to write this down. Their hot button, their vision, their why is always, 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 100% of the time, and every single human being connected back to one word and one word only. Does anybody know what it is? Close. Yeah. Love. And it's not just love in the general sense. It's who they love in their life. That's when you know you find the hot button. How many times, trainers, have we gone through a focus meeting and somebody started talking about why this is important to them for their children, and they started tearing up as soon as that happened? How many of you think about your children, think about your brother, think about your sister, think about your auntie, your uncle, your mom, your dad, your grandpa, and when you think about them, you start to get emotional when it's connected back to your progress in life? How many of us? Right? All of us. Right? Every single one. It's human. It's a universal human need. It's a universal human need. Love is a universal human need. Love and connection. And so in order for us to really move the needle for people in their life, in order for us to inspire, empower, and transform their lives, we're not going to do that simply just through doing some push-ups and getting people like better triceps. It's connecting why we're doing the push-ups back to who they love in their life. And you know, you will cross the river from good to great, and then from great to excellent, and from excellent to phenomenal, when you are able to correlate with your members and know each one of them by vision. And by vision, what I mean is who they love in their life and what love they're gaining from that person by coming to the gym. What do most people say when I ask, hey, what's your vision? Why are you here? What do most people say? Give me some answers. Want to lose weight? What else? Get healthier. Be active. You see, we all have two people inside of us. We all have split personalities. Okay, I call it the true identity, the core identity, the one that's connected back to that thing, that person that we love in our life the most. as the primary motivator, the primary driver to the vision, that's called core identity. That's like, hey, let's be real. Let's talk about real human things, right? The surface level is what most people come in and tell you. I want to get fit. I want to get toned. Hi, I'm Devan. I'm the owner of Burn Boot Camp, and I'm here to get toned, right? That's surface level. It's like, no, hey, I'm not just Devan, the owner of Burn Boot Camp. I'm a father, and when I look into my children's eyes and they see me working hard and they are happy that I'm working hard, that reinforces the vision that I have and strengthens my need to be away from them here with you today, because I know when I go back, my son is going to look at me and he's going to say, Daddy, did you lead the people today? And he's going to ask me that question. They do. They ask me questions like that. How are the people? Because they always get confused where I go. So I'm like, buddy, I wasn't in, they don't know how to say Arkansas or Alabama or things like that yet. So I always just say, Daddy, did you go to the Burns today? And how was the people? And you can see I get a little teared up just talking about it, because that's my hot button. It's connecting back to those moments in my life, and it's more than just love, right? That's just a prereq. That's just like, you got to get there if you want to be good at it. If you want to be a good leader, you got to get to the person that they love. But then if you get to the story behind the love, this is my motivating story behind my love. When I walk in from a week-long trip out in the communities, and I walk in, and my kids run up to me all together, so happy. They run to me all simultaneously. There's 3 of them. I'm working out, so I'm able to pick them all up. I pick them up, I spin them around, and they ask me questions like, Daddy, how did it go? How was the people? And I get to say, guys, what we are doing as a family is incredible. You guys would be so proud of your mommy. You'd be so proud of your daddy if you were there. And when they say, Daddy, I don't need to be there, I'm already proud of you. That's my story in my head. It happens something like that every time. And if you guys want to motivate me, if you want me to get to do a muscle up or something crazy in the gym, all you have to do is ask me, what is Max going to say when you get home? That's it. I will run through a wall for you if you know that about me. If you know that's my motivation, it's game over. You've got my head, you've got my heart. I will do anything for you because you took the time to understand who I am. You guys follow me on this? Am I talking about fitness yet? Why are we different at Burn? You know, members come up to us and they say, Devan, right? Say, why? I don't know what it is about this place, but I've never been to a gym before consistently, and I'm obsessed with this place. I'm addicted. Who's heard something along those lines before? And it's because you've connected with that person. What they're really trying to tell you, and most people aren't great communicators, they just haven't learned the skill of communication. What they're trying to tell you is, hey, Kelly, you helped connect me to the things in my life that I love the most, and you helped correlate for me why my health is gaining love from the person that I love the most. That's the game, okay? And if we did nothing else, remembering that the vision is all about the hot button, and the hot button has a story, and you can find people's story. There's a podcast I did. If you guys want to go listen to me do this real time with a member, there's a podcast. You guys all know we have the Burn Boot Camp podcast that releases a new podcast every single day. There's one with Harriet. Can you look on the app and see if her name is in it? I think it's, if not, I'll tell you what it is. But it's with a member from North Raleigh named Harriet. And we go through this. So she had an original goal. Her original goal was, hey, I don't want to be like my mother in the sense that my mother passed before she could see me get married. That's a good love-driven primary goal, right? But we have to, it's just like if you left your house in the middle of the woods unattended, the forest will overtake your house eventually if you don't maintain it. If you don't maintain your goals and your vision through the lens of love and update it as you move forward in life, then those goals also get stale. So what you hear Harriet say, what we do is she goes, hey, Devan, I'm gonna live to see my daughter's wedding. I want my daughter to look at me on that day. This is the story part. I want my daughter to look at me on that day and say, Mom, I'm so thankful for you being here. I know that you've sacrificed so much to create a healthy lifestyle for yourself so that you can have longevity for your family, and I love you for that. I'll love you always for that. Thank you for being here. Well, she saw her daughter get married. She dropped 70 pounds. She saw her daughter get married. She walked down the aisle, and she said, DK, I don't know why I just keep going up and down 20 pounds now. I don't know why. It's because you already reached your goal. You manifested something, and you reached it. And now, on that podcast, I walk her through something that you could take a page from the book and use yourself. And what we did was I helped her create a new story. Now it's about the grandchildren that she doesn't even have anymore and watching them get married and telling herself the story of some moment in the future where she's connected to the kids that don't even exist yet. And what her daughter is now saying at the dinner table after they go shopping and after they go shopping for healthy food and they sit down and they have salads together. And she actually gave her, I said, what would those grandchildren say to you? They ended up being twins. I don't know how that happened, and she's like, my daughter's gonna kill me, but I really want twins. And I go, what would the twins say to you sitting down? And she said, and she'll say the nickname, I don't remember exactly what it was, but she said, they'll tell me, you're a go-getter grandma, or something like that. And she gave herself that nickname. So now she has this like vision of the future where she's the go-getter grandma, right? And she's gonna be the person that in 20 years from today is still getting after it because she has this vision of her twin granddaughters, telling her how much they're in love with the fact that they have a relationship with her granddaughter. That is what this is all about. That's what fitness product is all about. And that's why challenging workouts is number one. All circling back to the top. That's why challenging workouts are number one. Is it true or false that if I was down on the floor and I was doing a set of push-ups and you said, Devan, you're a beast, you got this, you have goals, do 15 more. What's gonna motivate me? That or, hey Devan, when you get back home, what's Max gonna say? There's another level of energy. There's another level of intensity that comes with that. Okay, people say they're showing up for themselves. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're showing up for themselves. They're showing up for somebody they love. Think about it this way. Have you ever seen or heard stories of, you can see these on YouTube, where toddlers or like animals, they get trapped underneath a car, and then you see people lifting the car up? You ever see those videos? They're all over YouTube. It's like, grandma has superhuman strength. Yeah, she did. Because if $5 million was stuck under that car that she could take as soon as she lifted it, she's not lifting that car. That's for herself. Because her baby, her grandbaby, was underneath that car, there's a different energy, there's a different level of intensity that you channel when you're doing something for somebody else that you love. And you see 65-year-old grandmothers picking up freaking Hondas, and you can see the wheels coming off the ground so the kid can get his foot out. Isn't that crazy? And that's like real. This isn't like esoteric. This isn't philosophical. This is real. There's examples in society where this happens all the time, and people will, it's not my opinion, they will do more for the person that they love in their life than they will do for themselves. Most people fail in their fitness journey is because they want to just get fit and tone. They're doing it for themselves. And they'll just yo-yo and yo-yo and yo-yo and yo-yo because it's a little bit motivating, but it's not inspiring. Motivation's like a shower. You got to take a shower every day. Inspiration is like, it's the foundation of your life. You don't need, once you find your inspiration, what you find that you love, you don't need it anymore, okay? This is the human connection conversation. That's what Burn is all about. We'll talk about fitness later, but I hope that you guys could hear a little bit of my heart. I'm over. Sorry, Jen. But it's very important to me to be with you all. It's very important for me to be sitting on the same floor. You know, a lot of companies, they have the CEO or the visionary come in, and like, if you see them, they're like, oh, that's really rare. And then when you do see them, they don't give you the time of day. And it's like, it's so disappointing and sad. It's like, what this is all about is all of us working together, locking arms in a unified front to believe the same things, have the same beliefs and the same philosophies, and have the same perspective. That's why I'm on the floor still on the mic. Not only do I love it, and it's like, I think such an interesting and amazing art, but being here with you means a lot to me, and I thank you all for being here and spending some time, and listening to me ramble up here. Hopefully you took a lot away, and hopefully these are some lessons that, going back to people first, that you not only use in the gym, but hopefully that you can use in your life, that you can use to make better connections with your husband or your wife or your kids or your future kids or your brother and your sister, or that person in your life that you love, that you guys have been pushing each other away for a while and putting a lot of that emotional baggage under the rug. I know we all have something along those lines in our life. I hope that you're the person, you're the leader, you're the one that steps up and asks them what their vision is, and through that lens, you becoming a better leader, a better human, a better communicator. That's our goal. Whether you're here in 10 years or not, I'll be here. Whether you're here or not, I hope you are. I'd love nothing more than to have the same group in 10 years. Likely not everyone will be here. And I hope that you take whatever we talk about today, and that this is a moment in time that you can stamp and emboss in your personality and take a few things away just to make you a better human being.